everyone. Welcome to Mission to Inspire. I'm your host, Shola, as you know, and we are joined by our wonderful guest today. Her name is Gao. Hi, how are you?
Hello, I'm blessed and grateful. I'm grateful to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, we are so pleased to have you on our show today. Um, I'll leave it to you to do a short introduction about you before we dive into today's interview.
Awesome. Dumelang, 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 Lokai.
Okay.
And I love to start by greetings, and that is in my native language. I
Mhm.
come from Botswana in Southern Africa. So Dumelang in direct translation is agree. Lokai is where are you? So I'm asking you, you know, what are you agreeing to when you come into Mission to Inspire? What are your intentions and where are you? Are you fully here with us, or part of you is still trapped in something that happened? You're still holding into something that maybe requires you to just put it down, let go, and be present with us. And just an invite for today, I just invite you to show up just with a clean slate and be here. And being here, I'm not saying be here with the information and the stories that you know, but allow yourself to listen and hear from your body. Allow your body to communicate with you, not you telling your body what to feel. Because I work with energy. So as I'm speaking, I'm transmitting energy. And you may feel some twitches, you may feel some sensations. Stop in translating or running away or letting your mind run the show, but allow the body to have a conversation with you, even if you don't know what it means, but it's more like just opening to this experience. And I love also greeting in my native language because it also activates that ancestral energy because I work with entrepreneurs and professionals and I help them to break free from generational patterns and imprints so that they can fully tap into their unwavering self-love and embody their confidence and thrive in their bedroom and boardroom. So ancestors are a big part of who we are since we are born into a lineage, we are given a name, and sometimes, yeah, obviously when it comes to the surname, there is a lot of it has been used for many generations. And what is it that you are creating from? Often we create from the templates that we were born into. So
Wow.
it's a big part of what I do. So thanks for having me.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. So you work with energy.
Yeah,
You dive deep into the realms of personal transformation, healing, and empowerment, right? That's what you do in a nutshell.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my.
that's what I do, and the magic is mostly in the body. So this is why I'm like, let's show up and see what's gonna happen. Because just by me being present here, already there are some things that are coming through. And in the beginning, it's just like it's quite interesting because the energy is just taking me deep into the pelvic area, into the womb, into the sexual energy, which shows me that a lot of people who are going to listen to this now or later, they have their sexual energy is calling to them. There's some things that needs to be explored and released so that you can fully embody the magic that is within. So yeah, I work with energy, I work with the body, and kind of like I step in and find out what the energy needs, what needs to be shifted so that you can align with your unique signature blueprint. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Your journey actually started, if I may say, and correct me if I'm wrong, from facing the judicial injustice and separation from your children to becoming a freedom illuminator, which I think is incredible. But can you share with us some of those moments that led you to embrace your true calling?
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually a good question. As much as I would say that was the moment that was defining, but my journey started from since I was a child because I
Oh,
knew what I was.
really? Oh my God. Okay.
So it started then, and hence you see how the queen. So I believe from since I was a child, I just knew who I was. I knew who I was, and I was very unapologetic about who I was. But coming from a very traditional African family, yeah, and I don't even think working with people globally now, I don't think it's just African traditional family. I think it's just whatever family that you are born into, there is family agreements, vows, societal, cultural And there is also political, religious, medical, judicial system that often defines who we are before we can tap into that. So for me as a child, knowing who I was very opinionated. I didn't want my voice to just be suppressed and that's it. And it's something that somehow it was not appreciated. So I was just called a lot of names, and the reminder was, you are not like my other children. And it doesn't matter what I did, what I wore, it was always not fitting into how it should be done. So I took pride in that I'm just me, and I remember being a cheeky child. At
Mhm.
some point, I just say to my mom, yeah, I can't be like your children. This is why my name is different. I'm how. And she just laughed and looked at me, but with this thing of, what am I gonna do with this child? You know? But
Yeah.
going through life, I also realized that as much as I was very vocal about who I am, what I believe in, there was a part of me that somehow kind of like constricted and just wanted, can you just accept me as I am? So I created some patterns of wanting to fit in, wanting to please other people. So it's kind of like I was more fighting for who I was when I was at home. But when I go outside in the world, it was more like, let me just belong. And even when I look at my gift, I just knew I was just gifted since I was a child. I would share some things. But there was this fear, and this is actually very common when I look at the African people. It doesn't matter whether it's African American or whatever, but it's just something that is kind of like dominant, that one or the other, we tend our back from who we truly are. We tend our back from our roots. And when I was a child as well, and I was sharing some things, I remember the first thing was like, oh shit, you're gonna be a traditional doctor. So you might as well go to church so that you don't become that. So these are the things that kind of like from the beginning, I was just like wondering why, And but still, when you have an agreement, your soul is calling you forth to do something, love will happen. So I found myself in toxic relationships, and I would say at the core of it, it was a part of me that wanted to belong. At the core of it, I was just continuing what was playing around the dysfunction that was happening at home. And when I'm talking about toxic relationship, I'm not talking only romantic, I'm talking even at work. There were still parents that were playing the relationship with my boss of back and forth, which is kind of like the play, the dance that was happening between me and my mom. But the defining moment was the moment when I lost my corporate job, because that was my identity. And at that moment, there was a bit of, I didn't know what's next.
Wow.
But that is my human. My human was afraid, but my soul was dancing at the same time. And
Mhm.
that was followed by the separation with my children, which, yeah, just totally broke me wide open. And I found myself at a point where the only way was to listen to that voice that I ignored, because all along I believed that voice was weird. We don't want to be weird. We want to be normal until later, because right now when you say you're weird, I'm like, that's sexy. That's a compliment. So I love it. But before I didn't want to align with anything weird.
Right. Okay. Oh my God. Oh my God. Wow. From what you've just said, definitely it would appear that you've got some unique ability to tune into the energetic fields and identify patterns that interfere with success and freedom. Could you explain how you do this process and how does it work? And what impact does it actually have on your clients as well?
Yeah. So what I do with, like I said, African ancient quantum medicine, it's how the healing has always been done. And when you're talking about healers in the other parts of the world, it's kind of like, oh, you just hold space and all that. But the way it has been done in my lineage, because I come from the lineage of first line healers, I step into your auric fields, and I get to see what is going on, where you are storing all the blocks whose energy is still holding into generational stuff, curses, hexes, all those things. And I just remove that. And the most important thing, and it's quite interesting because as I'm speaking about this, and I mentioned at first, I was feeling this energy in the pelvic area, but now I'm more at just by the waist, which is telling me a lot about not feeling safe in the body, about being disconnected from the roots, right? So I just I just follow the energy. It's kind of like it's a conversation that is happening deeper. Because even when you're talking about the body is more connected. And I would say it's operating more from the unconscious,
Mm.
right? So I just step in there to see what is going on, what is interfering with your success. And most importantly, what happens is at times someone is going through some challenges, either creating the same patterns, the same challenges, or just things don't work out. You take two steps and then three, four steps back. And at times when I jump in, I'll realize that either there's some ancestral patterns that are going on, or you're still holding into some patterns from your parents, whether it's the absence. I talk a lot about the wounds, the core wounds, which is abuse, abandonment, betrayal, and rejection. So when you are creating from this old templates, from all this pain,
Yeah.
you think it's you, but you are using the blueprint that you were born in, or of the people, caretakers or parents that you, yeah. And often again, it's also the inner child who, where when the inner child doesn't feel safe, it's gonna be hard for you to progress with whatever mission that you think you have. It's gonna be hard to tap into your unique gifts, that unique genius, because your inner child does not feel safe. So it's those things that often come into the forefront. And another thing is also the sexual energy. Like I said, the first imprint was just like that sexual energy. And when I look at it, we the society, the culture, when you look at even the religious system, sexual energy is one of the things that is very vilified in a way. It's a sin, it's a lot of things, there is shame around it, and there's so much darkness overall around it. So it disconnects us from the body. We don't appreciate and embrace who we are. And even where it's embraced, it's more like this is the energy for procreation, or we use it to serve men, especially for women. So even when another shame that is more dominant, when I look at the body and a lot of people that I've worked with, it's also the shame, being shamed of our body because we're being told who we get to be. So I've worked with a lot of people who often the inner child is what comes through, even the sexual energy. Sometimes it's also generational imprints. I've worked with one client who, when we started working together, she has not worked for 7+ years. She lost her job due to some whatever that was happening at work. And that somehow, yeah, it didn't make her feel safe to go out there again. And she just felt like, then that's it. All the years of studying and all these experiences doing something that I love is the end of it. But when we connected deeply, I found out the core wounds here was the father was, I would say, abusive, and more like he took the power, or minimized the mother.
Wow.
And there is a part of her that wanted to protect the mother. So by wanting to protect her mother, she took some of her mother's stuff, and she also resented the father, which also the father was a breadwinner. So for her, it was like, because of this job, he thinks that he's somebody and all that. So this way, the wounds that she was creating from. So we had to work on that. We had to work with the inner child who was molested when she was 5 years old. And when we healed that, everything fell in place because after the 12 weeks work that we did, she didn't even apply for anything. She just, someone called her husband and said, I'm looking for someone with his skills. And so my wife can do that. Okay. And she didn't even update her CV. She just sent it as it is. And guess what? She didn't want to go back as a normal employee like she did many years ago. And she went, had a conversation, and they said, we want you, but we don't want you as a normal employee. We're going to hire you as a consultant. And she was like, that's all I ever wanted. And they invited her in at a contract of 90K. That was like last year. She wrote me a week ago, still telling me that my contract has been expanded till the end of the year. And she's like, it's flipping amazing. I cannot even imagine to talk about how magical and life-changing this work is. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That is amazing. That is definitely amazing how a life changed critically from just a single step. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much for sharing that. You've talked about generational toxic relationships and how it can deeply, ingrained and the challenging to break free from them. What strategies do you normally recommend for individuals who, want healing from that? Because I'll tell you, um, I'll say 100% of people go through it without knowing. And a lot of people would not admit it, but they do.
That's very true. I mean, we've got a choice. We've got a choice. There's so many reasons why sometimes we want to uphold what we've always known. Another thing is we want to bond with the people that we did not feel the love from, and we bond them in pain. This is why I talk a lot about vows. If there is vows that we're going to struggle together, if there is vows of silence, it's vows of sacrifice, all those things are the vows that are going to keep on playing. And the thing is, all these things, they are not loud. At times it can seem as if your life is okay. I'll give an example with myself. Even the client that I'm talking about, she was married. She has never had two, three boyfriends. She met her boyfriend and she knew this is my soulmate. But yeah, things were okay, but at times okay denies us an opportunity of experiencing greatness. And when I look at my marriage was 70% okay. Like okay in the sense of when you look at what is out there, we had our ups and downs and we had our best. And, it's like, it's normal. And this is what I'm saying. Normal is overrated.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look at it, that 30% that if I accepted it, that 30% was gonna cost me my mental health. That 30% was gonna cost me shifting things for my children to say, you don't have to tolerate this. That 30% was gonna cost me my purpose. So I was gonna be okay in the sense of I'll continue being an accountant that I was for so long, but at the end of the day, it was not nourishing my soul. When I look at right now, at times I'm just in tears when I see people writing saying how I'm just so grateful. Like one lady who was molested when she was 12 years, and I think she saw her mother be molested when she was 9 years old. And at 60 plus years,
Mm-hmm.
she attended one of our master class, and afterwards she said, I have never felt this amazing transformation. For the first time, I met my inner child, and she was smiling. That moment shifted things for her big time. And she has been living with this pain. She numbed it with drugs. And I look at this and I say, how if you listened to what other people approved of, if you didn't listen to your calling, you would have denied other people an opportunity of transformation. And I still remember even when I was told it's time for you to do what you came here to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, whatever, but what is that?
Yeah.
And I had an experience of being taken out of the body, and I get to connect with a lot of pain. The question was, do you want to sit with a gift while so many people are suffering? So at times we have agreed to be in that dysfunction because, truth be told, we can look at it as toxicity, as abusive, as dysfunction, and name it all the things that we name them. But our soul knew at its core that we need that training. We need that initiation for us to give birth to what our soul desires. So it's both. At times it's a gift that is wrapped in sandpapers. It depends on how you look at it. But the most importantly, a lot of people run away from themselves. They are afraid of facing their shadows. And the magic is in going through it, because otherwise it's going to cost you your name, it's going to cost you your identity, it's going to cost you your voice. And before, when we look at our ancestors, it was not safe. This is why even when you're trying to do something that was not done, there will be voices that will come through and say it's not safe, because people's life were lost. And maybe even us in other lifetimes, we were killed for being and embodying our magic, our power, and doing what we love to do. But it's not that time. It's about being present to even discern, is this even my voice? Because some of the people, their mothers, their fathers, their grandmothers, all that they live in their heads, you hear the voice, it's not yours. But if you do not know what is yours and what is not, you're gonna just assume that it's you. And another thing, even when I look at the sexual energy, when we connect with somebody and having that intimate moment, we are measuring. Our energy is merging. And from there, we wouldn't even know whether it's ours or not. You can be, maybe it was an ex-boyfriend or ex-husband, ex-wife, or whatever. But on the other hand, if at all we parted and things were ugly, somebody's sitting there and they're just like saying something so bad, getting angry because of whatever that they feel is our responsibility. Because you are still tethered to those people, you are feeling that energy coming through as if it's you who feels that way about you. but it's somebody who's got access to your energetic fields. So there's a lot of things that you need to look at here, but it starts with being present enough to discern, is it your voice? Even at times it can be different with some voice that comes through someone. You can hear something that I will never say this word. I don't often use this word, but it's kind of like click as if like it's a thought. Where the hell is that coming from? Is that even yours? But if you are busy doing and not being, you're gonna miss the opportunity of discerning and knowing that this is not me. So it starts with just that. And even now with the social media, there is a lot that is always penetrating us. Even as we speak, and there's energy that I'm transmitting. So you can be listening to somebody, they may show up looking all good and all that, and they're saying what they're saying. What they're saying sounds good, but does it really feel good? Are you even aware to discern that I hear what they're saying, but it doesn't feel good, which is still the same thing, whether we are doing a business deal, whether we are looking for a new partner and somebody's coming in and they're telling us what we want to hear. You can tell that, yeah, it sounds good, but it doesn't feel good if someone is not in alignment. So it starts with being present, but you can't be present if you are in survival. And I still remember there was a time when I was watching this other guy. I mean, I know the guy, but I was watching him, was saying something. And after that session, I think I was like, just in the present moment, I was not fully present. And then afterwards, I was like, I want a donut. Like there was this craving. I want to eat a donut. And I stopped in the kitchen. I'm like, what the hell is this? Where is this coming from? Then I had the name popped in my mind. And I'm like, ooh, that's quite interesting. So I just asked him, I went back and said, what's going on? And then he told me what he told me. But on the other hand, his way of dealing with certain emotion is numbing them with food, so you need to be present. But it's also part of my work because you can't do it from the mind. The mind is the same mind that created the shit that you're going through. So you may need to do something to clear that, because my work, we clear that so that you can have that clarity of that discerning and knowing what is yours and what is not.
Right, right. As a mother of three, how was your personal transformation and journey impacted on your parenting?
Oh, it's a big one, actually. It's a big one in the sense of every single conversation, every single thing that I'm doing at times when my children are coming through, whether they are painting, that sometimes I can look at them when they're saying something and I can connect with them because I can connect with my inner child. So my question is, what is it that I would have desired my mom to have said to me, my dad to have said to me? you know. And at times I can also look at that and also connect with the mother that I had even when I felt that she didn't understand me, and understand that no one is taught how to parent the fucking soul. We don't even know what the soul is here for. So there's no how my mother would have known what I needed. She loved me at the best level that she could, but at the end of the day, I was who I was. So it's kind of like it bridges a gap between my inner child and my parent. And it also helps even with me healing and letting go of things that I may have been holding into and expecting that she should have known she's a parent and all that. No, we don't know shit. So it helps to question, to ask questions, to seek to understand, and most importantly, just understanding. I still remember there was a point when I was given this message about my son. Yeah, it's a journey with him, but I was just told, don't ever stop loving him. That
Oh,
means he's not gonna be what I somehow expect or hope him to be, because he doesn't listen even when I doesn't like, no, mommy, I'm not gonna do that. He doesn't want to listen to any advice, but it's just like I can do the best that I can, but at
yeah.
the end of the day, I'm not gonna hold it and feel guilt and feel like I have to respect his soul path. Because for me, when you're talking about a conscious, extraordinary being, it's knowing that we are here on different paths. And even our children, they may have chosen us, but at the end of the day, they want to explore what they want to explore. The question is, are we going to respect their path and still hold them in that space of love and choosing to trust that the God that is in them knows what is for their highest and greatest good? And maybe that's a lesson that they need for their next level of expansion. They want to get through the path that they may want to go or whatever, even if they don't want to listen, they're gonna learn, right? But I love you anyway, even though you don't want to listen to what I get to say. And I trust that you'll figure it out. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, thank you so much for joining us today. You spoke about the importance of authenticity and vulnerability in your healing work. Yeah. So, how does this element contribute to the personal empowerment and transformation that you preach on a daily basis?
Mm. Let's talk about authenticity in the level of the word that I use. Right now, I can't remember the word, and that's just the thing of being present that at times words just disappear. So there is that, I would say, raw authenticity that is coming from pain,
Yeah.
and at times we can hold into it to say, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say because this is just my truth, this is who I am, and all that. And I'm not judging it because I used to be that, and had it not been because of that raw painful authenticity, I wouldn't be where I am, because showing up as I was, it depends on who was present. But I'm grateful that somewhere along the way, I came with people who were willing to call me to my shit and
Right.
say, you need to look at yourself in the mirror. You are a fucking creator. You can change this thing. This is not how it goes. You are blaming other people, So I'm grateful for that. And I believe that authenticity, even if it's that wounded authenticity, at the
Right.
end of the day, it gives you an opportunity for people who are brave enough to save you. Because when we're talking about service, we're talking about sometimes I may need to hug you, Shola, and say, I'm just sorry that you're going through, and I'm just gonna hug you and I just let you, yeah, marvel in the hug that I'm giving. Sometimes I'm gonna say, you need to wake the fuck up because this is not who you are,
Yeah.
right? That's service. Yeah, and they both save you depending on where you are and what you need. So wounded authenticity is great, but on the other hand, if at all you identifying with it, if at all you believe this is who you are, that's true for you, but it's also gonna deny you an opportunity of growth.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So
Wow.
authenticity, I believe it's a frequency. It's who we being. Like I said, even when it comes to being of service, truly, it's what do you need right now? Because if we are authentic, even when it comes to the people that we are attracting in our life, it's a filter, especially for people but who have a problem with boundaries. When you are being yourself, you're gonna filter people who can't stand you. They're
Mm,
gonna make sure they keep a distance. Those people who want to be in your space, they're gonna come through. Authenticity had that frequency of conviction as well. People can, or rather can choose to be with you, follow you, or get the fuck out of the way so that you can move and be where you want to go. So it's magical when I look at it because it gives you an opportunity to look at yourself honestly and say, this is where I am at, because we are lying to ourselves, especially when it comes to the toxic positivity. We are not being authentic with who we are. And that means we are living our life not in alignment with the truth and even our unique signature frequency. So authenticity is a huge magical transformation. Even when I connected with vulnerability, it's one of the things that when I look at vulnerability is one of the pillars or principles of intimacy. Because if I choose to be vulnerable with you, if I'm open in my heart to you, if I'm open and to say, this is who I am, the messy, the ugly, the beauty, the magic, the brilliance, all of that, this is me. Are you still comfortable being in my space or not? Do you even have the capacity to hold the space for all of me when I am in my brilliance and when I am down and feeling vulnerable and just wanting you to hold space for me? And I look at it on the other hand, even when I look at for instance, when I talk about that intimacy, whether you are making love with somebody and they're taking you to places that you've never been, because when you are with somebody that you can be honest with, you can be open with, you trust them, you just let them go. That's vulnerability, for you to let your body relax so that somebody can fully penetrate you. However, that penetrate you is not necessarily the sexual activity, but even holding that space, So even if it's the penetration, now when you're talking about that sexual activity, the moment when you let go and you just having that moment and you having that orgasm, there's gonna be a point when you're having that orgasm. That orgasm is a temporary death. And that means you don't even know what the heck is happening, how your face looks like, what kind of voices are coming through you. You don't flipping know, but you've let go. So are you with somebody who's going to see the beauty in you, even in that moment? And at times, even when I'm talking about the orgasmic bliss, it can open your heart wide open. And instead of having that, whatever that we think orgasm is, it can come with the heart orgasm that open your eyes, your heart wide open, you cry, you having that genital orgasm at the same time. You are a flipping mess, but that flipping mess feels so flipping good. So is your partner capable enough to hold space for all of you at
Right.
that moment? So it's for you to have that orgasmic bliss, you need vulnerability,
Right.
for you to be able to connect at a deeper level. Because I hear people saying this, I want an emotionally available partner. Really? Whether it's a man or it's a woman, really, you do need somebody who is emotionally available, or you have an idea of what that is, because you get to have the capacity as well. Even if you're talking about holding space for your king,
Yeah.
do you have the capacity to hold space for a man who is just like vulnerable and just letting all the tears come out? Are you still gonna see the king in him, or you gonna run away and say, I don't know what to deal with him? He was crying, he's not a man enough. Or you gonna be turned on that this man trusts me enough to let go? Because
Yeah.
that's true love.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so and that brings us to the end of today's interview. So much. And we thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your journey and the impact and everything that you do. Can you tell us how we can contact you or get in touch if we want to?
Thank you. I'll actually share a link with you. I'm offering a free intro to my work. I call it Orgasmic Clarity, which is amazing. You get to know how this African ancient quantum medicine works. And clarity is very important, especially if you are using it intentionally and there is a desired outcome that you need. But I'm available on social media. Gao Motsemme is my name, GaoMotsemme. And I'm available at gaomotsemme.com and Instagram, Gao Motsemme magnetic confidence, and I believe TikTok is the same thing. So that's Gao Motsemme, and you will find me. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for coming on our show today. If anyone wants to, from hearing your message and advice, and they feel, powerless, broken, unsure of where to start of your own journey, being you and having gone through all the hardship and the transformation that led to you becoming who you are today, what advice can you give them?
That's a good question. But on the other hand, what I would just want to add is don't wait until you are desperate for you to want to ask for help. The
Wow.
most important thing in life is always striving to make your life better, always striving to grow, because at a soul level, your soul is here to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
So always want to be better than you were yesterday. But the
Mm-hmm.
most important thing that I want to share is to remember this. The level that you are not fully free is the level that you are not fully joyful, and that is the level that you are not fully loving.
Oh my God. The level that you're not fully free, the level where you are that you're not fully loving.
The level that you are not fully joyful, and that is the level that you are not fully loving.
Really? Ah, I'm hearing that for the first time. Right. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And also, we're blessed to have you on our show today. Thank you. And until next time, it's Shola and Gao on mission to inspire. Don't forget to subscribe and like and share this message, this interview when you watch. Thank you for joining. Goodbye, everyone.
Right.
Subscribe if you haven't done so. Like, follow, comment. Until next time. Goodbye.